to bring me happy. Thank you, happy.
Hey there, Trekkies! Whether you're an assimilationist or on the unexpected cost of passing as an intelligent fan of a franchise beloved by many in Star Trek, oftentimes you're looked at as a nerdy cosplay group of Trek and TV tropes living as an outsider. Yes, living the life as a Trekkie has its benefits of passing as a multi-universe person with the authority and knowledge of believing in more than just a TV series or a franchise like Star Trek. That's why you've tuned to us here on A Captain's Log to seek even more ultimate knowledge of the Star Trek universe and the latest news and interviews.
Yes, indeed. I'm Lili Fox-Lim, a true Trekkie, and he's Brian Kreutz, the ambassador to the fans. BK and I know the fan base and enormous philosophical, scientific, and entertaining thought process that goes into not just the scripts of Trek, but so much more like dance choreography, for example. But it all started in the 1960s with Gene Roddenberry's Star Trek, the original series. And we have an original series actress and belly dancer who will join us for an interview today.
Right on, Lily, complete with her unique dancing and familiar scenes from the 1967 Star Trek, the original series episode, Wolf in the Fold. You remember the Jack the Ripper episode, right?
Of course.
Tanya Lemani danced into the hearts of Kirk, Scotty, and McCoy when she was down on the planet Argelian. And we'll have Tanya Lamani here with us today. She's not only playing the role of Kara, the Argelian belly dancer on Star Trek, but also has done so much more in Hollywood and Las Vegas.
Ooh, this will be so exciting to meet Tanya. And I also wanted to pass along to viewers that Tanya Lamani has a book, her life story, titled Have Belly Will Travel, that provides a glimpse into what the life of a working dancer was like during the early 1960s, including the challenges that conflicted with her old world father's beliefs and so much more.
It's fascinating, Lily. I would love to read this book. Now let's get more of the Star Trek news. A little bit more teaser into Star Trek Discovery because I believe the final season is just around the corner.
Ooh, okay, yes. But first, Joanna's going to shine some light on the technology behind lasers and phasers. Yes, pun intended.
I love it. And with honors, I give you this.
Thank you. I'll treasure it forever.
Now this is our Tractor Beam Me segment. Computer, bring on the view screen to the Harupa Valley shuttlecraft.
Greetings, Bryan and Lili. Get ready because I'm gonna knock your lights out.
You have something else in mind for this Tractor Beam Me segment using light? It sounds like, right?
The idea of using light as a weapon started with Hippocrates, commander of the Greek forces in 212 BC. His forces used enlarged mirrors to direct sunlight to start fires in the sails of the invading Roman fleet. Fast forward to 1960 when research physicist Theodore Myman created the first ruby laser. He surrounded a rod made of rubies with a quartz flash tube in a polished aluminum container. What he found was the chromium remnants in the rubies glowed red when exposed to heat and light.
Yes, the Library Computer Access Retrieval System has extensive material on chromium. Because chromium absorbs light in the blue and yellow regions of the visible spectrum, they're emitted as red light to our eyes.
Precisely. Yet, when not exposed to heat and light, rubies returned to their original color. This is called the color center formation. Heat and light can cause the chromium ions to migrate deeper into the crystal structure of the ruby, intensifying the red color.
There must be a Star Trek connection coming, right?
There is indeed, Lieutenant Commander. While the phasers used on Star Trek didn't always glow red beams, they were inspired by some of the science. The U.S. military, also inspired by these principles, created chemical lasers for strategic defense. According to Star Trek lore, phasers were invented during the 23rd century and used on what ship? The USS Kelvin! So this ship was equipped with the first Federation starship mounted phaser banks, while phaser rifles and pistols were already in use. Star Trek phasers could burn through metal or be set on stun.
Thank you, Joanna. Oh. Hey, Brian. Do you know the Star Trek connection to this conundrum of science?
I was going to ask you if you did, actually. I'm thinking of a film, maybe the 11th one, that J.J. Abrams 2009 Star Trek one. You know, the one with George Kirk, that's James T. Kirk's father, on the USS Calvin, where they first used phasers in the 23rd century. Is that right, Lili? And Joanna?
Well, you are absolutely right, Bryan. So Star Trek phasers use nadian particles, where plasma was passed through a phaser emitter, resulting in a discharge of the nadian particles. While we haven't mastered nadian particles in real life, surely our imaginations are still growing every day, thanks to the imaginations of science fiction writers like Gene Roddenberry and others. Back to you two on the USS Orus.
This science update is brought to you by, it's something that Raj would say, I believe, right about now.
Aww,
That's all for
Tin
this.
Man.
We've missed Tin Man. That's all we have for this Track or Beat Me segment. We have the following news to share. As you know, Lili, the fifth and final season with the makings of a team of Starfleet's finest for the ages on Star Trek's first streaming series began its 2-episode season 5 premiere last week. We're talking about Star Trek Discovery and Captain Michael Burnham, of course.
Quite a start for this final disco drumming up drama for more episodes each Thursday on where else but Paramount Plus.
A captain's log returns in a moment.
We're geared up and ready with questions that Star Trek fans are going to love here on A Captain's Log. Bryan, we have a special interview with an original Star Trek actor and dancer that starts, well, right now.
Yes, Lili, we have a very special treat for you viewers today here on A Captain's Log. Like you, Lili, Tanya is a tri-lingual entertainer. However, her languages she speaks are English, Russian, and Persian fluently. We've prepped to talk to her about 2 upcoming films and, of course, extensive guest roles on TV series that are very popular, like The Man from U.N.C.L.E., Get Smart, I Dream of Jeannie, and so many more.
Oh, so many classics. But of course, this includes a heavy discussion about Tanya's role in the original series of Star Trek as Kara from the 2nd season episode Wolf in the Fold. Let's welcome Tanya Lamani to our show. Welcome to A Captain's Log, Tanya.
It's my pleasure.
So Tanya, I understand you moved to the U.S. and began a dancing career in the 1960s. How did you get your start at a young age, getting into dancing and acting and growing up as an Iranian-born Russian dancer/actress?
Actually, I'm also mostly Ukrainian, and I do have one grandfather who was Russian, and he was the officer in the White Army, but then he was executed by the Reds. Anyways, but the rest of my family from both sides are Ukrainian, so I'm mostly Ukrainian. And the way I started my career, oh my God, where do I begin? When I was 4 years old and I saw Shirley Temple in a movie, okay? And my mom took me there. I was 4 years old. And after we watched the movie, I fell in love with Shirley Temple. So I told my mom, I go, Mommy, let's go and talk to that girl in there. And she says, she's not there. I go, oh, no, she's there. I want to go there. She's behind that white thing. I want to go there and dance with her. And my mom says, no, she's not. She's in Hollywood. I go, oh, I want to go to Hollywood. That's how it started. Okay, Bryan? And then once we went through a lot of episodes and adventures, we finally came to America. And I always wanted to be a classical ballerina. So I took ballet as much as I could. And as I was doing a ballet show, one of the people that came to see the show asked me if I'd like to go to Las Vegas and dance. And I was 16 years old. I said, oh yeah, I want to go and dance, but I need to talk to my mother. So I went and I said, Mom, I want to go to Las Vegas and dance. So she put me on a bus and I wound up at the Flamingo Hotel. And I was looking for ballet troupe. I go, I'm here to join the ballet troupe that's opening the show tomorrow. They said, no, there is no ballet show here. They're opening a belly dance show here tomorrow. I go, oh my God. Anyway, I was so upset and I said, I can't do this. My father's going to kill me if he's going to find out, you know? So they talked me into it. Don't worry, we'll put makeup on you. We'll do this, the lights. Nobody will recognize you. I go, oh, okay. All right, fine. So they talked me into it, and I was in a background dancing with the other girls. I did not know the choreography. I was just following them and trying not to get into anybody's way. But anyway, it was great because there were other girls who were in the show and they were fired. And I wasn't fired. And I thought, my God, why am I not fired? You know, because the other girl was really good and I didn't know what I was doing. And one of the girls said, don't worry, it's because she was flat chested and you have a nice, 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 and you were shaking your shoulders very well.
Tanya, you have branched out into a multifaceted career in the entertainment industry. We would like to continue to discuss your acting and dancing career, but I have to understand that you have also written, produced, and also did lots of location management for TV and film up until and throughout the 1990s. Can you please tell us about this?
I went for PA, production assistant job. I came there and they said, no, we get some kids from school to do that. I go, but I need the job, please. It was at that time in my life where I didn't need it. I needed desperately. So I said, I need the job. I don't care what I do. I'll bring coffee. I'll go do errands for you guys. I'll do anything. No, we can't have you. So I went home and I was crying. I get a phone call and the line producer, Bob Waters, called and he says, Tanya, do you have a home? Do you own a home? I go, yes, I do. And he says, well, can I bring the director and take a look at it? I go, yes. So they came and they looked and they liked my house. And they said, okay, we're going to rent your house for filming and for 5 days and pay you, no, for actually 10 days and pay you $500. And also you're going to be a location manager. So I said to the producer, I go, I've never done location managing, you know, so I don't know what I'm doing. He says, be quiet, I'll teach you. He was a wonderful man. Later, I find out that he recognized me, that I was an actress and everything, and he felt sorry for me. So they hired me as a location manager and rented my house for 10 days, which I was on the brink of losing my house at that time. And because of that, I was able to get enough funds together and save my house. And that was the beginning. And they paid me $200 a week. As time went by, I didn't know what I was doing. So I never went to the agents to look for properties for locations. I just drove around. I would drive around, look at different locations that could work in the script and so on and so forth. And I would go and I make a deal. They gave me a budget, but the people who I contacted, they didn't know pricing for that. So I was able to make a deal for much less. So when I did that for the producer, Ashok Armitage, who has Hyde Park Productions, he was so impressed that the next film he paid me more and it went up and up and I was getting $900 a week.
You did lots of work as an actor and dancer in Hollywood. So before we get to Star Trek, can you tell us about working on my aunt's favorite show, The Man from U.N.C.L.E. in 1964 as the role named Venetia? Did you work in scenes with Robert Vaughn, Leo Carroll, or David McCallum?
Yes, I did have a scene with Robert Vaughn. Because I was a double agent. I worked in an office And then I was a belly dancer and collected information in the nightclub. And I did have a short scene with Robert Vaughn in it. Yeah.
The next year, in 1965, you worked on a TV series, a very popular one on network TV called Get Smart, I Dream of Jeannie, and many other roles on network TV. Can you please tell us about this and how casting directors would notice you more, which led to your role on Star Trek?
Somebody recommended me an agent, Mr. Samuels. He was an incredibly nice guy, a very aggressive kind of a Jewish guy from New York, and he. In my mind, I thought he was like 100 years old, but he wasn't. But he was looking old, and he couldn't drive, so he used to pick me up and take me to studios. And he said to me, I'll make you a star. So the first thing he took me was to Bob Hope's movie at the MGM to meet someone, and I met them. Oh, before we walked into the office, at the gate, they said, do you have a pass to get in? Is your name on the thing? And he says, no, I'm Mr. Samuels. Call Mr. James in that production company. And so anyway, we started walking in there, and he stopped me. He goes, do you know how movie stars walk? Lady movie stars walk? I go, no, how do they walk? And he was a skinny little guy, and he started walking with his hips going right and left, right and left. I didn't know what to do, laugh or what, I said, oh, that way. He goes, yeah, come on, show me. So I start doing it. He goes, okay, you're a star. Let's go.
You were a stand-in for actress Barbara Luna, who Star Trek fans would know as
Yes.
Marlena Moreau in Star Trek: The Original Series in the second season episode Mirror Mirror. Oh, a classic as well.
Yes.
Please tell us how standing in for Barbara Luna came about.
I knew no one in Hollywood, no one to help me or anything. My mom says, I know someone who can help you. I go, who? Mr. Moscow. Where's Moscow? She goes, she had a thick accent. She goes, Halar Rocha. What? What studio? Halar Rocha. I said, you mean Hal Rocha studio? She goes, yes, that's it. She says, Halar Rocha studio. And talk to Mr. Moscow. Tell him that his nephew, Leon Chulok, and I went to school together when we were little. And when they took away her portion of a bread in school after they found out her father was in a white army, they did not like that because it was communism already. So they took her bread away. So she was really starving. The rest of the kids would get their portions of bread, So Leon Chulok, the little boy who was sitting behind her desk, used to sneak part of his bread with her and share it. He was the only one that was nice to her. He secretly did it. So when I came to Mr. Moscow's office, he looked at me. He says, who are you? What are you doing here? I said, my mother said, and I told him the story. He started laughing. He says, so what do you want? I said, I want to be an actress. I want to be in your movie. He goes, are you crazy? I go, no. He says, it's a tough business. You don't want to be in it. I go, yes, I do. He goes, well, you know what's going on in Hollywood? I said, no. Well, you have to be a bad girl and perform some, they will want some sex favors from you. I go, what? I don't have to do that. I'm talented. Stupid, Anyway, he laughed and he says, okay, I will hire you as a stand-in for Barbara Luna. I go, who's Barbara Luna? Oh, she's, she was on Broadway and blah, blah, blah. She's the lead in the movie. I go, okay. So anyway, that's how I started as a stand-in for Barbara Luna. She's a terrific lady. We're really good friends now.
What a tremendous story. Yes, as Lili said, Barbara Luna is a part of the Star Trek Mirror universe, and it was in the season 2 episode Mirror Mirror.
A captain's log returns in a moment.
We are your only Star Trek news and interview source on broadcast TV and Roku. This is a Captain's Log. Lili, welcome back. I saw you off set preparing to do a belly dance next week. Trekkies, you won't want to miss that.
You will be shocked to see my basketball moves now converted into a dancing step with a side dish of Flava Flav belly dancing. So, brace for impact.
Oh, I can't wait for that. Always a stunt or one new move ahead of us, Lili. Can't wait for that. Now, Tanya is ready for your next question, I believe, Lili Lils.
All right, let's get into your very recognizable role as Kara in the 1967 Star Trek The Original Series second season episode, Wolf in the Fold. You show up immediately as the episode kicks off, using your facial muscles to make your eyes and brows move side to side while holding mini cymbals on your fingers while belly dancing. And this is on the planet Argelian 2 in front of William Shatner's Kirk, DeForest Kelley's McCoy, and James Doohan's Scotty characters. Set this up for us. How did the casting process go leading into your scenes and dialogue?
Casting was as usual. They wanted me to audition, so I went and auditioned dancing. Then they wanted me to audition reading lines, and I did. And Joe Pevney, the director, he was a very nice man, very talented. He directed many episodes on Star Trek, and this was the one that I was in. So that's how I got the role, because they were looking for someone who was able to act as well. And Joe Pevney was really a wonderful director.
Was Joe Pevney a part of the casting, and can you tell us about the makeup tests and process for Wolf in the Fold?
After they hired me, they called me to go to makeup department because they needed to make exotic makeup on me because I was from another planet. Mm-hmm. So they put, the first day I went there, they put different color little feathers on my eyelashes, eyebrows, in my ear, in my ears, in my nose, everywhere. There were little feathers that I had. I was sneezing all the time, and they sent me to director Pevney, and he looked, he goes, no, less. So this went on for 4 days. Oh, every time they would do some exotic makeup, Joe Pevney finally said, I don't want anything on her face. I want to see her pretty face. So that's all. That's what I had, just the regular makeup, That's all I have. But it took 4 days and everything. That was that story. And the scene that you were talking about is about Jack the Ripper, who was killing people on the planet. And the three guys, Shatner and Doctor and Doohan, Jimmy, Scotty, they all decided to come to Argelian and bring Scotty there, because Scotty had an accident and lost interest in women. So they wanted to cure him by watching me dance. So when he came to watch me dance, he was smiling from ear to ear and was cured, And that's when he was so happy and wanted to take me for a walk, So that was basically the scene that took place.
You're not only belly dancing scenes as Kara the Argelian in this episode, but also there are close-up scenes that I'm sure required very specific reactions and expressions. What do you remember about the director Joseph Pevney directing you on specifics, and what were William Shatner, D. Kelley, and James Doohan like to work with?
Well, first of all, that scene, you have to remember one thing. that in those days, when they were filming, women especially, they concentrated on lighting and they made sure that everybody looked beautiful. Okay. So it's up to the director to tell the lighting a person to light an actress a certain way. So Joe Pevney did that. As if you look carefully, you'll see how pretty the lighting is on me. Made me look really pretty. I was really surprised. Anyway, another thing, when that scene came about, and it was very much of a close-up, Joe Pevney said, I want you to look into the camera and think that it's a tunnel. And you have to be very quietly talking. And yet have that mysterious look of space. And that's what he told me. And I did that, and that's how it came out. That was really a beautiful moment for me. Anyway, Shatner and I, we met years before, a couple of years before, maybe longer. Paramount as well, they were doing Alexander the Great. He was playing Alexander, and I was one of the slave girls. There were several of us dancing. I was one of them. And so when I saw him, I said, oh my God, who is that guy in a little skirt, Greek skirt, outfit? Cute, good looking guy. I said, who is that? They said, he's playing Alexander the Great. I go, oh my God.
Yes, Tanya, such a stellar stroll down memory lane at a time in the 1960s when Hollywood was substantially changing.
Well, it takes two parts to trekking down Tanya's fascinating tales of truth, with so much more in store next week here on A Captain's Log.
Bye for now.
Hello, happy, my old friend. I'm glad you've manifested yourself into a human I can depend on to bring me happy.